So if you were to say to me, Chris, what are the most powerful techniques in Excel VBA? Well, I'll probably say loops first, Excel VBA loops. We've already covered those in this series. And then a very close second, I would say position control. You've got to know about position control in Excel VBA if you want to push forward your Excel VBA skills. What do we mean by position control? Well, we know in Excel, we have a grid. We have a grid to work with, and position control is to what extent are you really in control of where you are on this grid, and what techniques help us here? Well, there's the dot cells technique in Excel VBA, but I'm a really big fan, and you might know if you've been following the channel for a while, of the offset method. That's what we're going to cover in this session. If you've never seen offset before, you are going to feel the power of offset and position control. As I've said, is so important in Excel. Excel VBA real world task, but a big welcome back to the Excel VBA real world task season 3. If you like these more involved Excel VBA tasks, really very close to what I'm doing in my real world consultancy work, you'll love our member communities. Make sure you go and check those out. If you like football data, like working with football data, check out our Excel VBA for football traders community, a unique set of resources. I would love to see you there. With that said, let's get into this task. And we're talking about position control. What particularly are we talking about? Well, we've got a mechanism to loop through each of the fixtures, and then we've got this loop within loop idea we've covered in the past couple of videos. That loops through on the data sheet, that loops through the teams. And it loops from the bottom to the top. That's all working great, but we need to do more than that. In particular, we need to get the result. We need to get the result onto our fixture sheet here, onto our analysis. I'm going to go ahead, hold down the shift key, and just clear out these little illustrative inputs that I've made. So how to do that? Well, we know Excel is looping up and down this column here. So we just need Excel to look across. We need Excel through position control. We need Excel to look across and just locate the value in that cell. So just stop the video and think about that. Do some translation. I'm here. I need to get the value here. What technique would allow you to do that? Okay, great. Thinking about it myself. One thing I do want to do is I want to store this result. I want to store it into a variable, I think. Yeah, I do. Now, what's a variable? You know, we covered it already in this series. Well, a variable is a place for us to store information, bits of information that are going to help us in the programming. I'm going to say game result. Dim game result as string. In this case, why is it string? Well, you've got to look at the data you're going to work with. The game results are in column F here. You can see we've got a 1 and a 2. That would be fine with an integer variable type because they're whole numbers. We've also got this X though. So this X means I'm using a string, and the string will convert the number to text. That's something for us to look out for later. That might be important. Just something for us to look out for. So here we've got to declare variable. So trying to keep my standards up, declare my coding standards, declare variable to store game result. Okay, good. So we've got our variable there. What do we need to do? Well, we had our message box that we used for testing in the previous video. And this message box, yeah, it does something close, doesn't it? It does something close to what we want to do. All the message box was doing, and you can go ahead and go back to the last video, it's just flashing up the name of the team in column B. So it's a good position to start from. Okay, but we don't want the name, the team name in column B. We want to look across and get the result, which is in column F. So I'm going to go ahead and count the cells here. So I'm just going to hit right, take me to the adjacent cell, hold down the shift key, and then right arrow 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see count at the bottom. So I've got 4 cells. I want to move across 4 cells and then store the value in that cell into the variable that we just created, which is game result here. So game result equals, I'm going to hit an underscore here. That underscore just means Excel will read the code on the next line as if it was on the same line, that space and underscore. I've only done that because I'm kind of running out of room. You don't have to do that. So we've got that dot value here. What do we want to do here? This is where the offset method is going to help us. Offset, what does it mean? Well, think of it as meaning move away from, move away from. Just like the offset formula that we have in the worksheet. Have a quick look now. We have to give a reference, which is an anchor point, and then we can move away from that reference by a number of rows, and a positive number goes down, and a number of columns, and there a positive number goes across that way, across this way here. Did I get that right? That way? No, across that way. There we go. Okay, so it does the same thing as the formula, but it's in VBA. It's a little bit more difficult to understand, but this is the reference. This is our anchor point. So we're starting, for example, column B, B365 here. We want to offset that. We want to move away by how many rows down do we want to go? Well, we don't want to go any rows down because we want to return a value from the same row. So that vertical movement is 0, and then comma, how many columns do we want to go across that way? And I'll stop doing that, don't worry. How many columns do we want to go across? 4 columns in this case, and a positive number with offset is going to move us in that direction. A negative number would move us in the opposite direction. Okay, so 0, 4 here. Okay, interesting. So we've just put a little bit more code in there. What do we need to do? We need to stop now, and we're just going to go and test that. So I'm going to say message what's game result here. Okay, so message box, and then you can see here we've got the variable name, so we don't need the speech box. Just having the variable name, Excel will externalize, flash up the value that the variable is holding. That's exactly what we want it to do. Okay, so I'm going to say bye for a second. What do you think is going to happen now? So as always try to guess what's going to happen. That's really going to test your understanding, test your learning. Let's see what's going to happen here. I'll come back for a second. And remember to put your breakpoint in, otherwise you're going to have 374 message boxes 10 times. That's not what we want. So you can just put the breakpoint in, or you can go to run and then, debug and then step into. I'm going to hit the F5 key, my breakpoint's in there. You just get that, you get that by just clicking in the margin, hit the F5 key. We've got 1. So where's that value of 1 come from? Seems to make sense. We've started in this cell. We know the loop within a loop will take us to this cell. Then we've moved across 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got to this one here. Seems to make sense. So now I can guess, I want to build confidence by guessing what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next? Well, we should have a value of 2, because remember, we're looping from bottom to top here. Hit OK, and then I'm going to hit F5 again. That's going to run the code to the breakpoint. Got 2 again. Now what's going to happen? We should be on row 372. Going to hit F5, we've got 2 again, and I'm going to confirm we were on row 372. How can we do that? Just hover the cursor over the variable, and Excel externalizes the value of the variable. So cool. What value is it going to be next? Should be a 1 next. And then it's going to be 3 1s and then an X. And that to me is probably enough testing, but you can never do too much testing, but that to me is probably enough testing. I've got faith in that. I've got faith in that mechanism now. Okay. Good. So I'm thinking about what we've got to cover next. I mean, we don't want the game result just to fit in there, rather just to sit in that variable. We want to actually transfer it across, don't we? We want to transfer it across to here. Okay, so how would we do that? So rather than saying message what's game result, let's say sheets fixtures dot range, and let's just go for D9 here, equals game result. Now, if I just run this whole macro, I'm wondering what value would we expect? There's another question for you. If we ran the whole macro now, what value would appear in D9? Well, it should go to golden retriever. That's our last team. And then it should be the last home game that Golden Retriever played, which should be this row here. So I'm going to go ahead and type my name in there. Okay. Try to remember to change that later. If it works through the whole routine, hopefully we'll see the value of Chris appearing there. It also gives us a sense of efficiency. This whole routine, it's doing a lot of work. How long is it actually going to take to run? Because if it takes too long, then maybe we're wasting our time building it. So I'm just going to Control S, save the file here. I'm going to run the whole routine, just hitting the F5 key. Okay, interesting. How long is this going to take? I can see the values changing. Okay, we got 1 there, and the routine is finished. Interesting. We didn't want 1, did we? We were looking for Chris to flash up here. Okay, so I wonder what happened there. I'm not sure what's happened. 3, 7, 4 to 5, step 1. Okay, yes. So what's happened there is we don't have a conditional statement there. So what it's done is just gone to the top of the data set here and it's going to return the value from the top of the data set. I was thinking we had a conditional statement in there and we were saying only do this if the team name matches. If the team name matches, that's what we're going to cover in the next video. It's not there. So what would I expect to happen? I'd actually expect this to be the last cell that the routine looks at. Remember, the routine is going from the bottom to the top, row 5. I'd expect that to get into this cell. So I'm doing more and more ambitious tests here. Going to hit the play button here. And now we're covering the whole routine. It's working through the whole routine. I get a sense of how long that took. It only took about 10 seconds, and I'm doing the screen recording. And yes, we got our value in there. But did you understand the point I was making? I didn't explain it particularly well because I was panicking because things weren't working properly. But for example, what's our first team? Our first team is Greyhound. So what we want to do next is when we're looping back up the data, when we're in this loop, we only want to do something if the name of the team is the active team. So for example, Greyhound's our first team. So we only want to do something if we pick out Greyhound there. So we've got the idea of conditionality. We only want to do something if something is happening. How do we do that in Excel VBA? We're going to cover that in the next video. Hope you're enjoying Excel VBA Real World Task Season 3. I love doing these series. It's great practice for me, really reflecting on what I'm doing and trying to raise my standards as well. And remember, if you like these longer series, there's not many on YouTube. There's loads in our member communities. The link is in the description below. I'd love to see you there. And I will definitely see you in the next video. Take care. I'll see you then.